Hey, welcome back. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unexplained Archive. You know, living in New York, you get used to the stories the water holds. The East River has its secrets, the Hudson its ghosts. But recently, I found myself thinking about a different body of water entirely, one that cuts through the very heart of America. A river that doesn't just whisper stories, but seems to groan them from its depths. And in one particular stretch, those groans have taken on a strange, almost physical form. This is the story of the Ohio River's sludge entity, a toxic mystery that's less about a ghost and more about what we leave behind. The Ohio River is a working river. It's not picturesque in the way we often imagine great rivers to be. For nearly 1,000 miles, from Pittsburgh to where it meets the Mississippi, it's a vital industrial artery. It's seen coal barges and steel mills, chemical plants, and generations of hard labor. And like any hard-working body, it carries the scars. For decades, it absorbed the runoff, the byproducts, the unthinking waste of industry. The riverbed, in many places, isn't just mud. It's a layered history of pollution, a thick, toxic sediment often just called the sludge. And in the stretch near the tri-state border of Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky, that sludge, according to some, began to move. The reports are sporadic, stretching back to the late 1970s. They come from barge workers, night fishermen, and occasional riverside residents. The description is eerily consistent. They speak of seeing a mass rise from the water, especially on still, foggy nights. Not a wave, not a log. It's described as a shifting, iridescent mound, the color of oil and algae. It has no distinct shape, but seems to pulse and flow like a giant amoeba. Some say it parts around bridge pilings, only to merge again on the other side. Others report a low, gurgling sound, like a thick soup boiling. The most chilling accounts come from those who claim it seems to react, to move against the current, or to briefly rise as if observing a passing boat before sinking back into the murk. They don't call it a monster. They call it the sludge entity, a manifestation of the river's poisoned bed, given a kind of terrible, gelatinous life. Now, as an engineer, my mind immediately goes to explanations. Could this be a natural, if unsettling, phenomenon? Absolutely. Decomposing organic matter in those sediments can produce methane bubbles that bulge the river's surface. Chemical interactions between pollutants might create iridescent slicks that coalesce. The river's currents are complex and can certainly push submerged debris into temporary, mound-like shapes. And human perception, especially in low light over a vast, dark river, is famously unreliable. Our brains are pattern-making machines, desperate to make sense of the unfamiliar. A collection of floating debris, a patch of unusual current, even a large school of fish, seen through fog and fear, can transform into something monstrous. But as a storyteller, I'm captivated by the symbolism, because whether it's a literal, moving creature or not, the sludge entity is profoundly real. It is the perfect metaphor. Think about it. This thing is described as shapeless, yet massive. It's not a predator with teeth and claws. It's a slow, accumulating presence. It doesn't attack, it just is. It is the physical embodiment of consequence, the result of a century of saying, the river will handle it. It's the collective guilt of industrialization made visible, oozing up from the forgotten depths to remind us that nothing ever really goes away. In the folklore of our modern age, we don't just get haunted by people anymore. We get haunted by our own waste. I grew up in Bangladesh, a land defined by its rivers. The Padma, the Meghna, the Jamuna. They are lifeblood, but they are also temperamental, powerful, and sometimes terrifyingly polluted. I've seen rivers change color from tannery runoff, and I've heard older generations talk about water spirits becoming angry as the fish disappear. That connection between the health of a river and the stories we tell about it feels universal. The Ohio River story resonates with me because it's an American version of that same deep-seated understanding. When you poison a source of life, it doesn't just die quietly. In our collective psyche, it stirs. It takes on a mythic form. The sludge entity is that myth for the Rust Belt. There's a fascinating and grim reality that feeds this legend. The Ohio River has known genuine, documented environmental horrors. The 1988 Ashland oil spill near Pittsburgh released over 1 million gallons of diesel fuel into the river, creating a literal, moving slick of devastation. For decades, chemical plants discharged pollutants like PCBs, persistent organic compounds that sink into the sediment and linger for generations. Cleanup efforts are ongoing, monumental, and often involve dealing with that very sludge, dredging it up, trying to contain it. So when someone reports a living mound of sludge, they are, in a poetic and terrifying sense, reporting the truth. The river is haunted by its past. The poison is really down there. The entity is a folk symbol, but the substance it's made of is chillingly real. So where does that leave us? With a mystery that is both solvable and eternal. The specific sightings on specific nights likely have rational, environmental explanations. A confluence of gas, current, and light. But the enduring idea of the sludge entity is unsolvable because it speaks to a deeper anxiety. It's the fear that our actions have created forces we can no longer control, that the byproducts of our progress have taken on a life of their own, and now they're out there, in the dark, moving slowly but inevitably. We project our unease onto the water, and the water gives it back to us in a form we can understand, a creeping, formless thing made of our own refuse. The next time you cross a major river, especially one that has powered a nation's industry, look down at that water. It's not just H2O, it's an archive. It holds history, chemistry, and memory. The Ohio River's archive is particularly thick, and if the stories are to be believed, a part of that archive has become restless. The sludge entity may not be a creature in the traditional sense, but it is a perfect, modern phantom. A reminder that some legacies are so heavy, they don't just sink, they settle. And sometimes, on quiet nights, they decide to rise. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Unexplained Archive. If this story of modern folklore resonated with you, please share it with someone. Where does our waste go, and what stories does it tell when it gets there? It's a question that applies to every river, everywhere. For more deep dives into the mysteries that shape our world, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This is Ibnul J. Farabi from Light Not Studios. Until next time, look a little closer at the world around you. The most compelling archives are often the ones we've forgotten we wrote. Visit us at https://www.lightnotstudios.com.